Hey, do you happen to know what this is? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you all about it coming up next. Hit the cool music. Let's get started. Hello everybody, this is Drmcbrick and I am here with a tiny little build that I just had to build. You know, I'm a pop culture professor and pop culture of all types appeals to me. And so when I was doing things for my city, I just thought to myself, you know, there's something that I haven't seen in a long time, and that is a FotoMat. Now, for those of you over 45, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen these. For those of you under 45 and perhaps in different countries, you've only seen these as kiosks for like coffee shops or little tiny things like that, or just abandoned in various parking lots. Now, what I did was I decided I was going to build a FotoMat and build it as much as I could without building signage and stuff like that. So this was something that was started in Florida in 1965. It was soon the concept was soon bought by two entrepreneurs in California, and they started a company called FotoMat. And what they did was developed these little kiosks, and these kiosks were pre-made, prefabricated, and they were put on to concrete bolsters like this, curbs, so you couldn't run into them with your car. And they were stuck in the middle of parking lots everywhere in the United States. And their idea was to get as many of these kiosks in as many parking lots as possible. And by the early 1980s, there were about 4,000 of these in parking lots all over the country. And the idea was, now remember, this started back in the 60s. The idea was, and it was very clever, that there would be this kiosk and you would just drive your car up to it, come in here and talk to what they called the photomate, and she would take your film and take your information and everything, put it in a bag, and then she would take that and send it away overnight to a lab that was nearby. And in that lab, they would develop the film, they would bring it back the next day, and then you would just come back in your car, pull back up to the FotoMat, talk to the photomate, and then go ahead, give her the money, and you would have a set of prints. And I'll tell you what, as a kid, it was very exciting to go to these FotoMats. In some ways, it was like Christmas, because every time you would go, you would know that you would have pictures and prints, actual prints that you could hold in your very hands and look at. And that's something, of course, we don't have today with our digital film and everything like that. So I wanted to interpret it in Lego. Now, these kiosks were all light blue. They had huge yellow roofs on them. Usually on the top of the roof, it either said FotoMat or it said Kodak film on top of it. And a lot of people confused the fact that Kodak did not own FotoMat, by the way. They just had a deal where they would sell film, Kodak film. As you can see, I have little packages of film back there. I'll flip this around here. Maybe you can see them back from there. We go. Little packages of film, and they would sell film from their kiosks as well. So when you would go in, you would take a roll of film from your camera, and this was back when you had to have 35mm film, or mostly the films that came in the really cheap plastic type of cameras, the Instamatic cameras and things. And you would give that to them, and then they would give you a roll of film that would match your camera, and then you would have another film in which you could go and take 16, 24 pictures and get it developed and stuff like that. These things on top of here were lights. These lights usually shone on the Kodak or the FotoMat logo there. They provided some light at night as well. All of these kiosks had 3 windows, and they had a window on each side. There were no bathrooms in there. They were air conditioned. From what I understand with friends who had worked at these kiosks, they would make deals with people who owned the stores that were in the strip malls behind or in the parking lot. And then whenever they had to use the bathroom, they would just run into one of the stores and use the bathroom. So, but they were pleasant in terms of air conditioning and all that kind of stuff. I'm building mine because it's going to go against the wall, but normally this roof would overhang on this side, and there might even be a lane on this side and a window as well that opened up. You would always have this kind of this extra berm here that would be raised, and of course a door, because we had to get out of there, and this was old style back in the 60s through 80s, and so of course you would open it there with the lock, and you could see kind of in there where there's basically just film, a few camera sundries. You couldn't buy cameras or anything in them. They were too small for that. But you just take your film there to get it developed, and you could develop it overnight. There were always nice bushes and shrubs and things like that, and these kiosks were kept up very, very well. However, in the 80s, what happened was there was a huge push for 1 hour finishing and 1 hour development. And so these machines were invented and developed where they would go into drugstores and grocery stores and all kinds of things like that. And then they would develop your pictures within an hour. Now, FotoMat's model, of course, was to develop your pictures overnight, and that's what they dealt with. It was the idea that, you know, you could have memories taken one day and have your memories printed the next day. But with 1 hour developing, this really ate into the business of FotoMat. So these just kind of came out of favor, and to be honest with you, they couldn't keep up. One of the things that people don't realize about FotoMat is that FotoMat became one of the first video rental places in the country, sealing deals with Disney and MGM and a few places where you could actually go online, and look at a catalog. I'm sorry, not go online, but look in a catalog, and you could pick the video you wanted, and you could call the number, and then the next day it would be available right here, and your friendly photomate would give them to you, or would rent it to you for 5 days, I believe it was, something like that. So yes, they were actually one of the first to do that. But then, of course, again in the 80s, video stores took over with all kinds of video, Blockbuster and Family Video and everything like that. So these really went out of favor. They were bought by a Japanese company at one point, and then it just became a website to kind of like a Flickr site. And then FotoMat as a name and a brand and everything just went out of business. And it's just kind of a trademark right now, I guess. I don't even know if it exists as a trademark anymore. But these kiosks still exist in various disarray all around the world, in various parking lots. Some people use them for coffee shops and things of that nature. But anyway, I just thought I'd build one in Lego. It's a very simple build. I'm using the light blue bricks, as you can see. The light blue bricks, I don't know how they look on here or on camera, but I just made an F there for photos. This would actually have the menu of all the things you could buy on it. You could buy 24 prints for $12.99, and 20 or 12 prints for $6.99, and all that kind of stuff. So that would be where that sign would be. Again, the FotoMat would be up here. Kodak signs, there would be some printing along here that would have maybe some sales or some other things that you could read and to see what was going on. So as you were coming into the parking lot, you could definitely see kind of what they did at this kiosk and things like that. As you pulled up, you could see what I did here was it's just very basic. Inside there is a cash register. There's a chair on which the photomates would sit, and there's a door back here to get into the FotoMat. Open it up, and then of course back there again I showed you that there was film to be had as well, and you could buy film, or they would give you a roll of film whenever you would take one in. Now the folks who worked there, both males and females, wore these kind of the light color blue shirts to go with the theme and the coloring and all that kind of stuff, with some yellow trim and some things like that. So yeah, it was I don't know if I can focus there. There we go. So yeah, it was a very, very wonderful time. Again, growing up in the 60s and 70s, these FotoMats were everywhere. I really loved them. I know they had some around in other countries, but I don't think they were as prolific as they were in the United States. So if you're driving around and you go to an old parking lot and you see one of these things, in whatever color it is now, know that at one point it was a FotoMat, and it used to be the center and the hub of all photo developing for most of us amateur photographers. So with that said, please like this video. Please tell YouTube you like this video and you like my videos. Subscribe if you're so inclined. Share the video. And hey, join as a member if you'd like. And I hope to see you build your own FotoMat or something like that for your town as well. This is Dr. McBrick signing out.